Hello my friends, it's Gabriel with the Last Huntsman channel here, and today I am very excited to do a review on a knife that I've been kind of testing out for a little while now, and that is the Papa Bear Knives Essential. This is the Gen 3 model, but let's check this knife out. Alright, so the Essential is a knife made by Papa Bear Knives. He's kind of a one-man team there, so he hand makes these one knife at a time. What's really cool about that is he has just a variety of different steels, different kind of sub variants and sizes, and different handle options and even sheath options. I kind of went with this Kydex old World War II looking bomber type of thing. I really like that combo there. And well, I really like the Essential so much that this is my second Essential. This one here is the first one I had, and this one is CPM 3V. This one is 8670, but he offers them in a variety of steels. I've seen them in anything from EDC RV2, 52-100, 8670, CPM 3V, and even he's been doing a lot of Magna cuts, which is really awesome. But what's also pretty cool about them is each one of these, as you can tell, he makes his own handles and, you know, kind of sculpts them however he's feeling like at the time, or whatever you request for. And so if you get a Papa Bear Knives Essential model, you're going to be getting a one-of-a-kind knife. Like, he's not going to remake one exactly like this or remake one that's exactly like this. So, you know, that's something to kind of look for too, is just having something that's one of a kind. Alright, so I have the Papa Bear Knives Essential here. I'm just going to show a few common popular models that's a similar size so you can kind of get a feel for its sizing. There's an SE4. Here's a White River Knives FC4. So it's a little bit longer than a 4-inch blade. I think it's about a 4.5-inch blade overall. Here's a Reef F4. So that just kind of gives you a little bit of sizing. One little quick side thing about sheaths here is he does Kydex work, but I also think he's doing a lot of leather work these days too. So if you look into a Papa Bear knife, you'll have to kind of look into what sheath he's offering at the time. And I'm about to get my first kill with the Papa Bear Knives Essential. Blood-sucking little bastard, you. Alright, so I have the Papa Bear Knives Essential. This is the CPM 3V version. Some of these are also, most of them are in 1/8 inch thick. This one, however, is in 5/32 and has a high set Haber grind. Let's test this one out. We're going to do some batoning. Now, obviously, its size, it's not going to do anything huge as far as batoning, but it's going to do most of what you're going to need a knife of this size to do. You're actually getting some pretty fine feathers with that.
I think that belly helps a lot.
Yeah, the Papa Bear Knives Essential has such a good edge geometry. I think it's probably, for its size and such, one of the best edge geometries. And it's just a very, very, very slicey knife. Alright, so another task I'm going to do with the Papa Bear Knives Essential is I'm going to just try to do some feather sticks. Now, something to take note on with this knife is because this is a custom semi-production type of knife here, it puts a lot of specific details into the ergonomics. And I know I showed some other comparative sizes like the SE4 and White River knives and even Reeve knives, and none of them compares to the ergonomics of the Papa Bear Knives Essential. Now, I know that's somewhat subjective just because everybody's hands are a little different, but I have medium-sized hands, and this knife just fits so perfectly in my hand here. Alright, so like many of my knives, that's kind of in the 3.5 to 4.5 blade range. I like the EDC, the Essential as well, and with the Kydex sheath, and you could probably do this with the leather sheath as well. I like to just put it underneath my belt. I could just draw it like so, and when I have it even underneath my t-shirt, it's not even noticeable. Alright, so another task I'm going to do is I'm just going to do some basic slicing with the Papa Bear Knives Essential. Give kind of a feel for the blade. And as you can tell, this is a very, very, very slicey blade. It can just take a lot of material. I'm also kind of testing the ergonomics. And this knife actually kind of feels really great in two different grips. Try not to get the blade to shine on you so much. So if you grip it just right up here like a hammer grip, it feels really good. But also, if you just want to kind of choke back on it and do kind of more of a handshake Filipino type of grip, then it actually feels really good like that too. I'll say this is definitely one of my most comfortable knives that I've ever owned. And there's a reason why I own two of them, let's just say that. But yeah, this knife is a joy to use, and it's that perfect just kind of belt knife size that just is easy to use for just about most common knife tasks. And of course, that classic deep clip kind of bowie design adds a lot to it as well. Maybe a good little stabby stick. Alright, so I'm going to test the 90-degree spine on the Papa Bear Knives Essential here. I'm just going to try to get a little fire going here. Wind's blowing that fire pretty good. Alright, so I have the Papa Bear Knives Essential. I'm just going to try to take down this small sapling. This ain't going to be any kind of heavy chopper, but the way you can choke back on it definitely lends itself. Now, like I said, some of these I've seen are, or most of them I've seen are 1/8 inch thick. However, the CPM 3V version that I got happens to be 5/32, which I actually kind of like it in that thickness. I think it kind of really depends, but it does kind of give it the extra little heft. All right, so one of the things that is just absolutely amazing with these Papa Bear Knives Essentials, and I'm just gonna come out and say it before I even finish up the review, I think this is probably one of my most favorite knives I own. Like, I don't say that very often because I have so many different knives and I've tested so many knives, but I think this is probably one of my most favorite knives I've ever owned. And one of them that is kind of up there in par with this one is the LT Wright Forest Trail. And I realize that the ergonomics on them both are very similar. However, I think this one actually beats it out just a little bit. Not only just because it has that sculpting, which you could kind of choose to have or don't have, which I personally like. I got farmer work hands, so it doesn't bother me. It gives me a lot of extra grip. But something else that I like about it is, as you can see, kind of looking down from the top of it and from the bottom here, is though it's rounded, it still kind of has that oval shape that kind of gives it still good indexing and kind of gives you good edge alignment. But the ergonomics is absolutely perfect on the Papa Bear Knives Essential. Papa Bear Knives Essential. This has become one of my favorite knives. All right, so as I was saying, this knife is not going to be some like heavy chaw hopping knife. It's only about a 4.5 inch blade. Between a 4 1/4 and a 4.5, I didn't really take specific measurements. However, it will do some light delimbing, especially with kind of the almost 2-position grip on it. At least for my size hand, I could just kind of grip, choke back on it and just do some light chopping, and it just, with that high saber grind, and you know, not all high saber grinds or not all flat grinds are the same. The way he does these grinds on these knives is just absolutely perfect. Like, this is top tier craftsmanship for sure. All right, so another test I'm gonna try with the Papa Bear Knives Essential here is I'm gonna see how well of a decent little, if it will make a decent little defensive knife. It definitely has a decent guard in there. The ergonomics feel right. A Bowie knife is always a solid choice. But let's test this blade out. I'm wearing a little glove here just for a little bit of extra protection on my behalf. Let's do some stabbing tests to start off with. Oh yeah, with that fine clip point, it really just sinks right in there. All right, let's get stupid with this thing. Now, you have to test the attitude readjustment. There is not an exposed tang on here. That little spot right there, looks like it'd be kind of nasty. Not the nastiest attitude readjustment, but if that was a fleshy target, it would do the trick. But would this make a decent little defensive blade if this was like your everyday carry fixed blade? I'm gonna say hell yeah. This thing is very light, super fast in hand, has great ergonomics, especially with the indexing. You don't want something too round or it just starts to kind of rotate. This thing does not do that at all. And so would I suggest this as like a defensive EDC blade? Yes. Well, my friends, I've been doing some testing and just trying various things with the Papa Bear Knives Essential. I got a little bit of footage from my other Essential too that I'll throw in as well. My overall thoughts on this knife is that I think it's absolutely amazing. The Papa Bear Knives, his fit, finish, quality, and craftsmanship is top notch. If you want something that is like beyond your mundane knives and you want something like next tier, next level, just heirloom, you know, your great descendant one day will inherit it, check out the Papa Bear knives. I think, like I said, I think this is probably going to be one of my favorite knives I've ever owned. Never going to get rid of this. I'm definitely going to be working on maybe a part 2 review. I just kind of want to get out an initial review just to kind of give my thoughts on it and kind of promote his brand, just because I really like him. You know, I'm not sponsored by him or anything like that, but good guy. He, like I said, he makes these by hand, one at a time, so they're all going to be just custom, you know, one of a kind knife for each person that gets one. So I highly suggest the Papa Bear Knives Essential. With all that being said, be prepared both physically and spiritually. God bless and carry on.